Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live Manchester United news show where we'll be having a discussion about the Arsenal game, Ayden Heaven, the positive signs about what Amorim's building, the youth, and more. We've got updates on injuries, some comments on certain players. We've got a few transfer stories: Mateta, Delap, Maino exit, and more. And I actually thought I clicked live about 4 minutes ago, and I was talking for 2 minutes, and then I realized I was not live. So it's been one of those mornings. So I do apologize, but we're going to dive into the news. We're going to dive into all the stories today. But do let me know down below in the chat, guys, how you are feeling post Arsenal game. How are you feeling about the match? Because I think, it's disappointing not to win, but going into the game, we'd have all taken a draw, especially when we saw the lineup and the lack of options available. But it was actually kind of disappointing not to win at the end of the game, because I thought we did all right. And there was some positive signs. I think defensively we've improved. Lenny Yoro won the most tackles on the pitch when he was on there. Ayden Heaven was really impressive. Casemiro won 9 out of 10 tackles. There was lots of really good positive signs going forward. And I want to talk about we are starting to see evidence that Amorim is building something, but he's clearly lacking the personnel in this position, and this position. But we'll dive into that. We'll chat about that. But let's start with just sort of what Ruben Amorim has said on the game and have a little conversation about the game yesterday. And then we're going to get into the stories, the transfer stories, and more. So this is what Ruben Amorim had to say. When you coach Manchester United, you cannot play too much like that. The aim is to win the game. I know that is frustrating for the fans sometimes, but when you score and have opportunities, the game changes. Sometimes we have to do things that are not popular, but in the end, we need points. Now, this was Ruben Amorim asked about his very defensive approach at home to Arsenal, which people don't like. But what Ruben Amorim is basically saying is PSV, they tried to attack Arsenal. They conceded 7 goals because there was too much space in behind. If you watch Arsenal this season, if you defend against them and you park the bus against them, Arsenal struggle. So yes, it was a very defensive approach. And yes, the first half was absolutely dreadful, and it took that Bruno goal to spark us into life in the second half. But we had to approach Arsenal in this way. Ruben Amorim doesn't want to play every game this negative, this defensive. But when you're playing Arsenal and you know that this game plan beats Arsenal or works against Arsenal, has in the past, and we've done all right versus Liverpool with this game plan, this is what we've got to do until we've got the personnel to go toe-to-toe with those teams. That's the truth about it. He says when you coach United, you cannot play like this all the time, but the aim is to win games, and it might be frustrating play style, but we've done it to win the game. We need the points. And Ruben Amorim's spot on with that. And what this is showing for me is that Ruben Amorim will stick with the same formation and the same system, but he's actually starting to be a bit more versatile in how he sets up. So it will be the same system, but it will be a more defensive approach. And he's doing little tweaks to the system depending on the game state, just to help us get by, which I think there was some fears that he was being a little bit too stubborn. So it was good to see some sort of changes there, even if it wasn't the most exciting game, because as Steven says here, seriously need to start faster. And yeah, thought we would lose, but I'll take a draw. We need to start faster. The first half was boring. First half, Arsenal were better, but they had no end product. Second half, we were better. David Raya made wonder saves, but we need to start games faster. It feels like we need a goal to get us going sometimes. It's like the Bruno Fernandes free kick versus Everton, it got us going. The Amad Diallo goal versus Southampton, it got us going. We have to wait for Bruno or Amad to do something to spark life into us. And I think sometimes, I wish we could start games faster. I wish we could have more life in us at the start of games as well. Finally, I do have some hope on the horizon in the likes of Heaven, Obi, Collyer, Euro, and of course the awesome Amad. And I think, we are going to talk about the game. It wasn't perfect. We are 14th at the moment. We're at where we're at, but there was positive signs. And for me, it's all about, can we see that we're building something? Can we see we're building towards something? Can we see elements of progress, elements of things working? And weirdly, in the second half, we saw elements of that. And I think there are things to be positive about. And I'm going to talk about why I'm starting to see signs that Amorim is building something at United. The youth, obviously Ayden Heaven coming in, beating Barcelona to sign Ayden Heaven, and that sort of situation as well. And how us signing youngsters and how important that is. But also this summer window coming up will be about experience. We've got some great youngsters, we've got some positives coming on with the youth, but this summer window we need that experienced striker, we need that experienced 10, because we do lack experience, and we can't ask the youngsters to step up in every game and assume that they're going to be leaders in the dressing room. So I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail in a second, but let me just take a sip of water. So I want to start by talking about Ayden Heaven, because I think that was a really good performance from Ayden Heaven yesterday. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think the fact that he came on at half-time and he didn't look out of place one bit, despite coming on at half-time in a tough game against Arsenal, the team we signed him from. And yeah, Martinelli, I know he's not the best player in the world, but he didn't have a sniff. I thought he dealt with Martinelli well. When Yeri got hooked, that was when Yeri's quietest game for Arsenal. I thought that Euro had a very good first 45 minutes. I thought the way Euro defended in the first 45 minutes was really good. And I thought Ayden Heaven in the second 45 minutes was really good. And there was some really positive and encouraging signs from Ayden Heaven. And this is what Ruben Amorim had to say. He said, I think Ayden Heaven did really well. He's very comfortable with the ball, so relaxed, very aggressive, and I think we have a good player there. Academy Scoop even said that Barcelona pushed hard for Ayden Heaven right until Manchester United agreed a deal. Eintracht Frankfurt were very keen. And I will tell you this for a fact. If Barcelona are going in for a youngster, you know they're good. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I knew loads about Ayden Heaven before Manchester United signed him. I was aware of him. I knew he was one of the high-rated players at Arsenal Academy, and Højlund actually did him in pre-season. I remember him from pre-season. But yeah, I think the fact that we've beaten Barcelona to a young centre-back is always a sign that, okay, this is a talented youngster. But also, he's going to have more responsibility because of Leach doing his ACL. The Fulham game and this game, he's been faultless. I was nervous about chucking a young centre-back in there, but he's been faultless. And he looks like a good fit for the system. Now, maybe I'm getting carried away and you'll let me know. But he looks assured. He looks good. Hope Euro's injury isn't too bad. I agree. Euro's getting better and better each game as well. The one thing Ayden did when he was in the the only dodgy thing Ayden did was when he was in the wrong penalty box. Yeah, but very good. Get very good signs down. And I want to quickly talk about Ayden Heaven. Sorry, I was just saw a weird chat. I think that he suits the system, and what I mean by that is he's very comfortable playing left centre back in a wide three. Now, we've always spoke about Euro's best position probably being central centre-back, but he's now learning to adapt to become a right centre-back in a wide three, and Lenny Euro's only ever played in the back two. Matthijs de Ligt has only ever played in the back two. The only Man United player with experience playing in the back three is Harry Maguire. And we're looking at Man United saying, well, he's never played in the back two, so he's never played in the back three, he's never played in the back three. But Ayden Heaven, when you look at his legs and his profile and how comfortable he is on the ball and how comfortable he is at his duels and his 1v1 defending, he actually looks made for that wide centre-back role because he's a centre-back, but he's got a bit more to him than your normal centre-back in terms of his ball carrying, in terms of his legs, in terms of he's one of those guys you could see playing in midfield, but he's a centre-back. And I felt with that wide centre-back role, and maybe I'm getting carried away, but I felt it was kind of made for Ayden Heaven. I said, look, he's 18. He's going to take time to develop. He's not going to be fully there yet. But as a player, as a profile, with his abilities on the ball, with his abilities to defend the wide channels, I was like, you know what? This is the kind of profile we want. Now, I want us to go out in the summer and sign an experienced left centre-back like Schlotterbeck, because we're going to lose Lindelof, we're going to lose Evans, and Leach is not going to be back till December. So we do need to sign a centre-back. I like Højlund as well, but I would like an experienced player like Schlotterbeck to play left centre-back, personally myself. But I look at Ayden Heaven and I say, well, this is exciting. This is someone that has come into 2 games and he's going to make mistakes somewhere down the line, but he's shown he fits the system. Lenny Euro, I thought, struggled in 1 or 2 early games under Amorim, but the last 4 or 5 games, Lenny Euro's been faultless and he's learning the system. But Ayden Heaven looks kind of made for this system. And I look at Ayden Heaven, I look at Lenny Euro, and I think that's 2 great exciting youngsters. We could even chuck Dean Højlund in the mix if we can get him. I don't think he's going to come to us because every good team's going to be in for him, and I don't think he would choose Manchester United. But there was exciting signs there. And we've got Diego Leon to come in at left wing back to challenge Dorgu. We're probably going to bring in Kender at right wing back. And I think we're building something exciting in terms of the youth in the future. But we need a bit of experience. I look at it and I think Kender's going to be right wing back, and Delo and Majraoui are the options at right wing back. You've got Euro, you've got De Ligt, you've got Heaven. We're going to need another centre-back because Leach is injured. And then we've got Leon and Dorgo at left wing back. It's exciting. I think we need an experienced centre-back, someone that's able to defend the wide channels. Kender's probably going to come in as the right wing back. But if we do manage to sign Højlund, I would rather go for someone like Højlund that's young, even though we need experience. But I look at the back line and I think, okay, well, there is something being built here at Manchester United in terms of the back line. There is something to look forward. And I actually feel that under Amorim, our problem isn't defensively. We have mistakes in us and silly errors. And that's just something, as you get better, we should get out of. But the problems under Amorim is in attack. It's in the final third. And we're building the defence. The defence is improving. And what I'm trying to say is I'm starting to see a foundation for United to build off. We need experienced players. We need an experienced player to go in the midfield. We need an experienced centre-back. We need another wing-back who can be young. We need an experienced striker that can score goals, and we need another 10. Then we can argue about goalkeeper. We need those 5 signings in the summer, and recruitment is massive. If Ineos get recruitment spot on, I think Amorim can succeed. Amorim took over Sporting that was poor. He struggled in his first couple of games at Sporting, then got the summer window, and after the summer window, he won the league with Sporting. I'm not saying Amorim's going to do that at Man United. The competition in the Premier League is massive, and we're way too far behind. But what I'm saying with Ruben Amorim is, if you get him a really good wing back, if you get him that centre back, that defensive midfielder, that left hand, that striker, you get him the right players. I think there's a foundation to build off, which I'm slowly seeing. We just lack the quality. Does that make sense? I'm slowly seeing a foundation. Our defense is good. We just need a good keeper, but it's not the priority now, and I agree. We probably do need a new keeper, but striker, left hand, wing back, Eriksen and Casemiro are going to go. Need another body to go in that midfield pivot to help out Bruno. Definitely. Second half was a bit better. First half, we played so deep and gave them so much space without closing down. I agree. And it was frustrating because I was saying Eriksen needs to come off, and then 5 minutes later, Eriksen's not closing down Rice for the goal. And again, the goal, everybody's watching Rice in the box. No one's looking to close down Rice. Completely agree. There was positive signs, but the performance yesterday wasn't perfect. But wait a sec. What? Yeah, Coleman didn't pick Xerxes for Netherlands. Someone just sent me that. Thank you very much for the super chat, NYSW007. 007. Big up, Alice. Congratulations on the draw. You never walk alone. Appreciate the super chat. Happy with the draw because that's what I'd taken going into the game, but disappointed not to win because I think we could have won it. Liverpool fans will be happy as well, more points off Arsenal. But even if Arsenal beat us, Liverpool were going to win the league, so it doesn't really matter in that sense as well. Dalot's been frustrating this season. He put one really good ball into Mazraoui. He needs to do that more. If Dalot could do that more, it's fine. But Dalot, I think, defensively is fine. It's when he gets into the final third, his decision making, not making the first time cross to Højlund. He didn't make that mistake last time. He put the cross into Mazraoui, and that was proper Ruben Amorim ball. But Dalot is a little bit frustrating at times. So we're going to dive into more news. We're going to dive into more stories. But I'm just saying the fact that we've beaten Barcelona to Ayden Heaven shows that, he must be a very highly rated youngster because Barcelona don't go in for any old youngsters. They only go in for the highest rated youngsters. And I think it was exciting signs from Ayden Heaven. So I wanted to be positive because I feel like I've been so negative and I feel like I've been so down and out about United. And if we go out the Europa League on Thursday, I'm probably going to be negative again because that is the season over. But I want to talk about the positives. I want to talk about the signs that I'm seeing because I want to have a positive live stream. And right now, I think De Ligt has been really good this last month or two. I think he's getting better. I've been impressed with him this last month or two. Bruno Fernandes is world-class. Say what you want to me. Bruno Fernandes is world-class. You cannot convince me otherwise. I just think that he's a bit inconsistent and let down by the players around him. But I think if he was at a top team, he would show that. Garnacho looked very good today on the right and should stay there. Garnacho on the left, cutting and shooting, frustrating. Garnacho always shoots. Ruben Amorim probably had a word with him saying, get your head up and pass. There was once or twice where he tried to cut in and shoot on his weak foot when maybe he could have played the pass. He's very desperate for the goal. He's not scored in 20 games. You can tell that, and I think that affects his decision-making more. But I thought Garnacho had a good game. I thought he was bright. I thought he was attacking Calafiore, causing problems, getting behind, putting some good crosses in, put a good ball into Xerxes, and Xerxes almost scored a really good goal, but just couldn't get his feet under it. Euro's getting better each game, made 4 tackles in the first half, looked very good in the first half then a Euro. I'm fingers crossed he's not injured. If he can play through it, hopefully it isn't that bad. But yeah, I was really happy with what I saw from then a Euro. And I think defensively we've improved a lot. Issues was more with attack and wing back. Now, Mazraoui had his best game as a wing back, in my opinion, yesterday. But defensively, we've been fine. The centre-backs have been fine for the last month, other than the odd mistake here and there, and the goalkeeper. But it's the wing-backs that we need to improve. Now, we've only got one more game without Dorgu, and that is the Leicester game. Dorgu will be back for the Real Sociedad game. We've only got the Leicester game without Dorgu, and then hopefully Dorgu coming improves us, giving us a natural sort of left wing-back as well. In other comments, Heaven is looking just like a talent. Mazraoui, again, as I said, is the best game at wing-back. And I think as a depleted squad in that second half, we outplayed Arsenal. So there's definitely positive signs. So I want to talk about Amorim and talk about the signs under Amorim. And is Amorim building something? And what can I see Amorim building? Oh, yeah, Declan said agreed. Goalkeeper isn't priority immediately, but for us, he needs to go long term. I agree. I think De Ligt's been underrated most of his tenure with us. Even in the less impressive matches, he tends to get a ton of blocks. I think he has limitations on the ball at times, but I think off the ball, he's been unbelievable. I think he's had 1 or 2 iffy games. But remember when we played 3 or 4 games without De Ligt and we were awful at the back? In the games we played without De Ligt, we've been awful at the back. So I agree. I think De Ligt is having an underrated season. I think a lot of people don't like him because he's not the most natural ball-playing centre-back and doesn't have the aesthetics. But I do think De Ligt is having an underrated season as well. De Ligt and Xerxes both not going on international games. This is good. Can't risk injuries. I agree. I actually think that De Ligt and Xerxes have been hard done by because they've actually been 2 of the players performing recently. But the Netherlands have probably just seen our position in the league and not picked them. But I think it's good that they weren't picked. Euro's been quite good as well. He has. I'm just hoping he's not injured. De Ligt might be captain next year. If Bruno leaves, I think De Ligt would get captaincy. I do. Because nobody else at this club is a captain other than De Ligt if something happened to Bruno and Bruno left. So I want to talk about the positive signs and what Amorim could be building. So far, we're seeing defensive improvement under Amorim. De Ligt and Euro are both improving game by game, and the inner signings are looking all right. We look at Højlund, Anana, and Mount, and we think that's a shocking transfer window. We look at 85 million on Anthony, 70 million on Casemiro, and think, what? Eriksen's going to go, Leach is injury prone, and Malassi is injury prone. We look at the window before, not a good transfer window, but we look at this summer. Xerxes isn't fully there yet, but there's signs, and he was 34 million. De Ligt looking like a solid signing when you consider price tag. Mazraoui looking like a solid signing when you consider price tag. Agarte's importance to this team is massive. You look at the signings that we made, and Euro looks really exciting. And actually, all the signings we made this summer is a positive. So the positive thing is I think Ineos is. I know where we are in the league isn't great, but I thought the recruitment from Ineos this summer was actually pretty decent. I think there's improvement under Amorim defensively. De Ligt and Euro improving game by game. And despite the lack of options and the injuries, we were the better team against Arsenal. There was positive signs, and Ruben Amorim actually, while it wasn't the approach he wants to do long term, and while it was a bit negative at times, while it was a bit defensive, in general, Ruben Amorim got his approach right, and that was good. A couple of years ago, De Ligt was known for his ball playing. I think he'll show improvement there. I agree. I think he's just better off the ball at the moment. I wish Garnacho didn't feel he had to prove himself so much to our reactionary fan base. I agree. He needs to just simplify his game. I think he's too desperate to score. But we're seeing the Man United players, and for me, this is one of the first games where I've seen Amorim's instructions be really followed by the Man United players. I think having a few more times in training to learn Amorim's system and instructions, it's working, because even the wing-backs push forward. The goal that Delo put into the goal we almost scored, when we almost scored a goal to make it 2-0 with Mazraoui, that was what happens at Sporting. At Sporting, the wing-backs get up like that, and one wing-back crosses it in, and another wing-back's at the end. And that's what Amorim did at Sporting, and that's what we don't have at United. So the goal that Mazraoui nearly scored, it was a Raya wonder save, was Ruben Amorim ball, and we pushed forward more in the second half. I think Ruben Amorim saw it was too defensive, invited too much pressure on. And in the second half, we actually played more like Ruben Amorim, but still a little bit more defensive because we don't have the players. But we were seeing the Man United players able to execute Ruben Amorim's instructions. We were seeing something's being built. We were seeing the system. We were seeing it starting to be executed. And it was very obvious we need another wing back. We need a striker. We need number 10. And option for midfield pivot is lacking. We probably need another centre back. You can argue another goalkeeper. But the system was sort of right, and the approach was right. We just were lacking the quality on the pitch with Ahmad out as well. It definitely doesn't help. And against Real Sociedad, I thought we saw the same thing. I thought Ruben Amorim coached a win versus Real Sociedad. They got a lucky penalty, and that did change the momentum of the game. But I thought we were the better team versus Real Sociedad, but we lacked that quality in the final third. I thought we were actually the better team today. We just didn't take our chances. David Raya made some wonder saves. Declan Rice had a brilliant game. But we're starting to see these last 2 games, some signs. Now, would it be classic Manchester United to go and lose 2-0 on Thursday to Sociedad and undo every good sign? Yes, it would be classic Manchester United. We can't get carried away. We could be awful on 3 games. But I am starting to see signs. I am starting to see signs of improvements. And I'm starting to see things to be positive about in terms of we've got to make sure we build upon this right in the summer. The summer, what we do in terms of recruitment is so important. But I'm seeing signs of, we could build upon this. This could potentially be exciting as well. That's what I'm starting to see. I'm just going to get into the live chat. Let me just take a quick swig of water. Look at January, Heaven and Dorgu. Both, I believe, will be good signings as well. De Ligt is a perfect leader. Yoro, Heaven, Maino, Dorgo, Rasmus, Xerxes. I think the signings are looking bright under Ineos so far. De Ligt is the one proper experienced one there. Amorim coached a 2-1 win yesterday. I think he did. I think he adapted as well, which was a good sign. He wasn't too stubborn. Xerxes would be frustrating to me if I'm a manager. Not sure where to put him. Definitely as a 10. This summer window is really massive. If Ineos supports Amorim with or without Europe next season, top 4 is a real possibility. I agree. Top 4 is a possibility next year if we get the window spot on. But we have to get the window spot on. And the reason I say top 4 is a possibility is the top 3 is nailed on City, Arsenal, Liverpool next year. But Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Newcastle, they all want that 4th spot. And no one's really pushing for it. Villa, I feel like if we get the transfer window right, you've got the top 3 and there's that battle for 4th. Now, for me, top 5 gets you in the Champions League probably next season as well. So I think it's a battle for top 5. And I think if we got this summer window spot on, and this might sound deluded, we could battle for 5th. Because I think Forest will drop off. I think Bournemouth will drop off because I think they will be raided. Villa, Man United, Newcastle, Chelsea, Tottenham, they'll be battling for 4th and 5th. And it's not going to be easy. But if you get the transfer window spot on, I agree. But if I was going to be honest, I'm saying right now, next season is get back in Europa League. Next season, I think for United, is like we are 14th now. Next season is probably get back into that top sort of 7 to get in the Europa League. Then the following season is push the top 4. But I think 5th, 4th, 5th, there's potential because you'd assume the other teams will drop off. But we'd have to get the summer window spot on. But I think Ruben Amorim has shown at Sporting the jump he can make after one summer window. And that's why I'm saying that. I wouldn't be saying this about Ten Hag, but I'm saying Ruben Amorim's proven after one window at Sporting the jump he can make. But that's just me saying if we got the summer window spot on, and that I'm talking about 6-7 signings that I don't think we'll be able to make. Not sure we have the funds, but need a new goalkeeper. And Nana got very lucky with the late chance where he saved it right back to the Arsenal player. This is the frustrating thing about Nana. Is he'll make a good save, but it's not a good save because when I watched Alisson versus PSG, Alisson saves the ball, then he pushes it out the danger zone. Nana saves the ball and pushes it into an opposition player. Nana saving the ball, then giving it to the opposition player is frustrating because Alisson will push it away. Other keepers will push it away. And Nana pushes it to them as well. With injuries and Arsenal's much more quality, had to play deep, but still have to press and close down. I agree. Tottenham too flaky. Look, we've got to think about Thursday. I'm being very positive right now, but if we don't win on Thursday, the negativity will be back. So let's talk about Lenny Yoro. Lenny Yoro won 4 out of 4 tackles in the first half against Arsenal, and no player on the pitch won more. The only problem with Lenny Yoro is there's a lot of talk to say he could be out for a while with an injury. Now, nobody's saying it's serious or nobody knows if it's serious, but some people are suggesting it could be serious. But I think it is just rumours going around. People are just saying it doesn't sound good. Yoro's injured, doesn't sound good. Hopefully it's one of those where he just misses 1 or 2 games and he's back absolutely fine. Ideally, he doesn't miss any kind of game as well. But he looks all right, Lenny Yoro. He wasn't seen in crutches, which is a good sign, but I think he's just having some kind of issue with his foot, which was the injury he suffered in pre-season. But there is talk of Lenny Yoro's injury not looking good from people online, but there's no reliability behind it. So I'm hoping that Yoro will be okay and it's just a knock, but I thought he had a good game. Ruben Amorim spoke about injuries and he just said Agata could maybe be back to face Real Sociedad, so hopefully he is back. Fingers crossed. So the only injury update we've got is that maybe Agata could be back and they're probably waiting to see with Yoro. But there's no credibility behind the reports that Yoro's injury is serious. It's just rumours online. So I'm hoping it's not serious. He wasn't seen in crutches, which is a good sign. So I want to talk about Bruno Fernandes now. Ruben Amorim said, we need more Brunos, players with his quality and availability. A team full of Brunos, and Man United are good. Someone that works hard, gives 100%, can change the game, runs a lot. We need more Bruno Fernandes. It's not just his quality, but his availability. Ruben Amorim is absolutely spot on. We need a lot more Bruno Fernandes. Alex said, Euro did take a tablet early on and kept treating the foot/ankle. Hope not too serious. Yeah, that's a good point. Hope it's not too serious. David De Gea was brilliant at making sure he saved away from danger as well, said Alex. That's the one thing at Nana is he can make the saves, but he puts it in the danger zone. That's what he needs to work on. Shame Obi cannot feature Thursday. It's such a shame because I think he was providing more than Højlund in that Fulham game. And it's a shame he didn't get on the pitch today either. If he did score, I think he'd have scored that Højlund chance. I really do. But yeah, We need more players with Bruno's quality and availability, said Ruben Amorim. Since the start of the 2021 season, Bruno Fernandes has been directly involved in 94 goals. No other midfielder across Europe's top 5 leagues has got more. Bruno Fernandes has more goals, 7, and more assists, 7, than any other Manchester United player in the Premier League this season. And Bruno Fernandes has 12 goals and 13 assists in all comps this season, which is 25 goal contributions. Bruno Fernandes has played 70% of the games this season in a deeper midfield role, and he's got 25 goal contributions, which just shows the quality of Bruno Fernandes. I think he's so disrespected. I think Bruno Fernandes is our most underrated player because I feel like when things are going bad, we blame the wrong players. When things are going bad, rather than blaming the actual problems, Bruno Fernandes gets the blame. Bruno Fernandes is the scapegoat. But I just don't know where we'd be without Bruno Fernandes. I think he's an unbelievable player. And I think we're so lucky to have a player like Bruno play for us. I think that Bruno is very underappreciated. If I was going to be completely honest with you, looking at those statistics, and Ruben Amorim even said it. We need more players like Bruno Fernandes, and I thought he was excellent yesterday. You look at Martin Odegaard and you look at Bruno Fernandes, and Martin Odegaard was embarrassed by Bruno Fernandes yesterday. Bruno Fernandes was showing up for his team and saving us. Martin Odegaard once again going missing for Arsenal in a big game. He had a good first half. Odegaard did nothing in the second half. I feel Bruno Fernandes is one of the most disrespected players in the Premier League. A player that has got a lot of stick this season and has been very poor this season is Casemiro, but Casemiro was brilliant yesterday. There's no denying the fact that Casemiro was brilliant yesterday. He won 9 out of 10 tackles against Arsenal today. No player has won more in a single Premier League match this season. He broke the record for most tackles won in a single match this season. I thought the fact that Casemiro was winning his duels and doing well against Arsenal, went a little bit unnoticed. I thought he was absolutely excellent. Casemiro, excellent yesterday. De Ligt, excellent. Yoro did well. Ayden Heaven did well. Mazraoui had his best game for Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, excellent. There's concerns around Rasmus Højlund. He did get a chance. He didn't score. It was a little bit worrying. We need to get Rasmus Højlund in form. Because, look, Rasmus Højlund's bad, but he's not as bad as he's been playing lately because I think he's lacking confidence. I think Rasmus Højlund, if he scores a goal, he could go on a run and score a few goals like we Sim. But he's really struggling, Rasmus Højlund, at the moment. And that's my biggest concern. We need the striker. We can't rely on Højlund next season. He's clearly going through a tough time. We need a striker. We can't rely on him. But I thought Casemiro had his best game in a while for Manchester United. The only player I was really worried of coming out in that game was Højlund. Obviously, Anana, but Højlund, because I still believe that Højlund could become a good player, and I don't want to write him off, but he just looks just no confidence there whatsoever. I think had he, let's say Højlund was off the back of a 5-goal scoring streak, he probably scores the chance that Casemiro wins. Casemiro should have got an assist today, but Højlund missed. I want Chido to start against Leicester. Maybe he will, but I don't think Amorim's going to take the risk starting the youth as well. Bruno is top. Don't care what people say. Get him a good striker, good ball carrying centre back, and we're challenging all of a sudden, and another wing back, and probably another progressive midfielder. But I think that Bruno Fernandes is a top player, and I think we've got to do what we can to keep him at the club this summer because I think he could be looking elsewhere. I think he'll be disappointed. He's 31. He's not got long left in his career, and he deserves to play for a club that's challenging, and we're not anywhere near that. So I'm just going to quickly talk about the transfer news because we know that it's really important. Manchester United have opened talks to sign Mateta and have been told that he will cost them 40 million. Manchester United, again, have opened talks to sign Mateta, who will be valued at 40 million, was said by 2 different sources saying the same thing. Manchester United are also very interested in Liam Delap. If the price is right for him, Chelsea, Newcastle and other teams are interested. If reported, Ipswich could ask 40 million. Mateta and Delap are definitely improvements on what we have. But are they the answer? Probably not for me. I would take Mateta and Delap over no striker. I think it's an improvement on what we've got. But I would rather get a ready-made top striker. Mateta goes through purple patches, and at Manchester United, would he get the service to have a purple patch? Liam Delap is still young, but I do really like him, talented player. Wouldn't be mad if we signed Mateta. Wouldn't be mad if we signed Delap. But I do think, in terms of getting a striker signing in, I think we need to be trying to get someone in that's got that experience, because experience is the big problem that we lack. And I think Mateta has been inconsistent, and I think Højlund, again, when Højlund's one of those where he can do nothing for 3 months, then all of a sudden he could score 7-8 games in a row. Like, that's the mad thing about Rasmus Højlund. The Mateta has had periods where he's been quiet for Palace and then periods where he can't stop scoring. And I just think at Manchester United, we're not even going to give him the service for that. So I'm not fully convinced by Mateta. I think Delap has a lot of talent in him, but I think we need someone more ready-made at striker. I like Kender at wing-back. I don't mind going for youth at wing-back. But I think in the summer, recruitment needs to be experienced, ready now, the right price. I like the idea of Premier League proven, but we need a top striker. I do like Mateta. He definitely improves us. But I don't know if he's the answer. Does that make sense? Like him, improves us, but I could not sit here and say, yeah, this Mateta guy's the answer, because I just don't think he is. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed today's live stream, by the way. I was trying to be positive, get through the news, get through the stories and all of that as well. There is talk about Chelsea going in for Kobbie Mainoo and Chelsea preparing to step up their pursuit for Kobbie Mainoo. But I think a lot of the Kobbie Mainoo news right now is agent talk, trying to get Kobbie Mainoo the best deal possible. But we'll probably talk about that in my live stream later today. Obviously, Joshua Zirkzee got sort of slammed by Koeman, not done enough to be picked for the Netherlands, which I think is a little unfair, because I think Zirkzee's been one of our best players the last 2 months. But it's good for us that players aren't going on international duty as well. With that, Ineos will open their wallets for anything more than Mateta. And the problem is, they said they didn't want Gyökeres because he's too old, but they now want Mateta. It's because Mateta's 15 million cheaper than Gyökeres, and I think price is a big part to do with it in terms of striker. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up the show here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.